What's going on, everybody? It is TripleCrown24 back today with a new card show recap video. It's been, I think, 3 weeks since the last one, and this is the closest show in proximity to me. It is literally a 2 mile drive from my office, which is very convenient. The only downside is that it only happens twice a year, so kind of have to enjoy it when I can. It is the Moeller card show. If that sounds familiar, it's a very well-known show in the Cincinnati area, particularly for vintage. It has a strong reputation for vintage. It definitely lived up to its reputation today. Talk about that more in a little bit. This it takes place at a high school, and in fact, there are two Major League Baseball players who are alumni from this high school: Ken Griffey Jr. and Barry Larkin. So, pretty cool there. Uh, Overall, this show is interesting. I've set up here once before, and it was back in December slash, I guess, very late November 2019. And oh, how things have changed since then. Uh, but I went in today, kind of had two separate goals today, and I feel like I hit on both of them. But overall, I was happy with it. There were some prices that just I scratched my head at. There were some setups that just scratched my head at for various reasons. Won't get into that. Why don't we just go ahead and show off the cards and what I picked up? So, uh, one of the very first things I did was to go to the value boxes. So you'll see here, I have a bunch of stuff. I thought this card was very interesting. It's Carlos Zambrano, who was the ace of the Cubs rotation for several years there, and it's him at the plate hitting. It's a black refractor, 2005 Topps Chrome. Wildomar Garcia Parra, number to 66. These all ended up being $2 a piece, and some of these will be material for whatnot sales in the future. So be on the lookout for that. Some of them are just good store fodders. So there's a Nomar there. The Goat, purple refractor. Won't be the last appearance of the Goat. Wander is a very popular seller over on Whatnot. Some color. There's Arenado again. And just some random stuff there. Xavier Nady, gold refractor, nice little Beltre relic. Share of blue. Some more. A couple autos in there too. Just always like getting the cheap autos. Speaking of cheap autos, this was another stack that I picked up, and this whole stack ended up being $25 for all of these. There are 21 autograph or relic cards in here. I think there's actually only one relic card, so 20 autographs, one relic. Right off the bat, I'm pretty happy with this one here. Kyle Freeland, first bowman. Shout out to Wesker Griff. And there's no names here that are going to blow you away. Like Nathan Eovaldi has been a very solid pitcher. He's the ace for the Red Sox. Now you could argue with Chris Sale out. Refractor auto there, first bowman number to 500. Brock Holt. Another Eovaldi here. A lot of Eovaldis. Jack Cust had a pretty solid career. This Mike Rivera will be for my Tigers autograph collection. I didn't have a Mike Rivera in there. Some Kyle Gibson's in here too. Alex Colome. So just some really solid names. Nobody who you're going to be like, oh wow, that's like huge. The Freeland might be the most recognizable name in there, but just some players who are still going today. Nice little Longoria T206 style relic there. And I figured I'd go ahead and pick those up. They're just good fodder for whatnot. And when you can get the autos that cheap, why not go for it? They ended up being like $1.20 a piece. So overall, pretty happy with that. We'll get those stashed away here. Also added this Maury Wills there. This is from the 2018 Archives release, 50th anniversary of the Expos. This auto was, I think, ended up being like $5. So when I bundled it together with some other stuff, so I thought, why not go ahead and go for it? As I said, it was a vintage show, and it has a reputation for being a vintage show, and it definitely lived up to that. There was a lot there, a lot of high-grade vintage as well that I can't really dabble in for monetary reasons, but if you look around enough, you'll find it. Here's one here. This one was fairly cheap in my opinion. 1962 Topps, the Babe Ruth special subset. This is Babe as a boy. You say 5 on this one. So it's one of those where you can't get stuff like that graded anymore. I mean, I guess you could, but it just wouldn't make much sense on that. So that one was just a random one that I found. This was a 5-card bundle deal, and these ended up being $50 for the entire bundle. And I have to say that I was absolutely thrilled with this bundle here. So first up, this one will be part of the Whatnot sale. Rizzo, Bowman Chrome rookie. So it was just kind of a throw in, but the dealer had this $3 autograph and relic box, and it was very chaotic in the box. And not to be disrespectful or anything, but there were like cards turned every which way. Some were in top loaders and penny sleeves. Some were just in there, no protection on them at all. And I go through those boxes. I know that can be a deterrent to some people, and it's not all nice and neat. I'm willing to do the digging to go through that stuff. Any of you guys who have seen me work in person know that I'm willing to go dig it in the boxes. And sometimes you just find stuff in there where it's a bit of a head scratcher. It's a no-brainer. So I picked up this Lucas Giolito autograph here, Bowman Inception. Again, a $3 autograph of Giolito. I'll take that. And then the Fresh Prince himself, Will Smith, top 5 catcher in the game, 5-star auto. When it costs over $200 a box to rip these, to get an autograph from that product, I'll take it regardless of who it is. And Will Smith is not the worst player in the world. He's definitely not the worst name on that checklist. So I ended up bundling those cards in with these two. And this is one of those where I just see it and I don't know if it's a screaming deal. I don't know if it's even really a deal, but it just felt right. So I went for it. This is 2012 SP Signature Edition. It's an Upper Deck product. And at this point in time, Upper Deck does not have the license for either Major League Baseball for the teams or the players. So you have these more so generic looking cards when those licenses are not present. As you see here, as the Reggie Jackson autograph there with just his little information of when he played with the New York Yankees. So Reggie Jackson auto is a sticker, but I mean, $25 for Reggie Jackson autograph. Come on. You're not going to find one that cheap, especially when it was bundled in with the other ones. So technically it was even less. And then this was the centerpiece, if you will, of it, the 62 post serial Willie Mays. Hand cut, definitely not the cleanest cut job I've seen on one of these, but this had a price sticker on it for $30. And again, that was just one of those that it jumped out to me. I get it that these are not, a Willie Mays post serial card is not going to be as desired as, say, a Topps card from his playing days, but still, it is a playing days Willie Mays, and it presents fairly well. I think all things considered, is it the best post serial example I've seen? No, but it's a beautiful card. I'm not going to take anything away from it. See the back there, kind of gives you a little better look there at looks like something that I would cut out with my scissors skills. Moving along, this was a partial cash, partial trade deal. Here he is again, the GOAT, Nolan Arenado, from 2013 Bowman Sterling. With the card I gave up, ended up getting this at a value, or I valued it at $100. And to me, it's numbered to 75. I get that it's Sterling. Sterling is, again, it's not up there with a Bowman Chrome or a Topps Chrome, but it's an Arenado rookie auto to 75, and it's pretty sharp looking cards. So, I mean, that to me, just what would a box of this cost? Like $400-$500 now? I mean, to get probably the best name that you could pull out of it, it made too much sense to me, and I thought it was a pretty good deal, so I went ahead and grabbed it. This was a bundle deal here with a gentleman. We talked for quite a bit, had a good conversation. This guy lit up the Reds in one of his previous starts. I know that's not really saying much this season, but He is off to a very good start to his major league career. I know a lot of people have been waiting for this guy to come up for a while. It is Mackenzie Gore, 2017 Bowman Draft, first Bowman Auto Purple, BGS 9, 8.5 on the corners, which seems a tad harsh. I don't really see anything that would warrant that, but maybe a little bit difficult to tell when it is in the slab. 10 on the auto, though. Auto looks all right. I mean, his signature isn't the best, but in terms of the quality of the signature, considering what they normally look like, pretty solid. I have seen a handful of those come back with auto grades of 9s on them, so to get a 10, I'm definitely happy with. And that was bundled in with this one, 87 Topps Joe Montana, Beckett certified, 10 on the auto grade, and just, I mean, it's Montana playing days auto. And I saw it, and I'm like, all right, that seems pretty cheap. And the dealer kind of negotiated himself into the deal for me, and he just gave me a number that was way too good to pass up. So I didn't pass it up. And then last but not least, certainly not least on this one, as you guys know, I usually try to save the best for last. As I'm recording this, the Lions have just made their most recent draft pick. So I was taking a look at that as I record this. This card I was looking at, and I didn't see a price sticker on it right away, but I came back around and then I noticed the price sticker. This is pretty crazy to me. This is a Larry Bird veteran ticket auto, and I don't know if all of these are numbered to whatever the jersey number is of the player, but in this case it is. It's kind of a die cut here. It kind of looks like a VIP badge. And it is a on-card auto. It looks like a sticker, but it is on-card from 2021-22 contenders. Pretty recent release here. And this had a sticker on it of $200. To me, that just seems absolutely insane, because I think you get 2 autographs and a hobby box of this stuff, and the boxes go for like $600. So to get a Larry Bird, I understand that the high, like the Cade Cunninghams, the Evan Mobleys, like if you pull one of those and you pull a numbered one, that you're probably looking at a few thousand right now. But I mean, come on now, Larry Bird on card auto to 33, and it's not even worth half of a box price. Just, you got to give me a break here. And after I negotiated, it wasn't even a third of a box. So I don't know. It's just one of those things, but it's actually in really good shape for a die cut too. There's like a little bit of whitening on it, but a lot of these die cuts, they come out of the pack chipped up a bit. So I was pretty impressed with that, just looking it over. That's kind of a bonus. I wasn't really looking to buy this and grade it, but it is in good shape, which is definitely a nice little bonus. So that was what I picked up to give you an idea of the show floor. And again, I'm planning to go back the following day, so you should probably see a part 2 video of this. If not, then, well, of course, you'll just see this one part here. Just looking at it, I was pretty shocked to see, how much vintage was still there, because there is a lot of newer dealers that I did see set up, but there was a lot of the old staples that had been there since I started going to this show many years ago. I know that some of the guys with vintage have kind of introduced some ultra modern stuff into their cases as well, but really for the most part, I didn't see too much of it. In fact, there was probably even more vintage there than when I was at the show the previous time. Back in 2019 was the last time I was there, actually, and they haven't had it since, I think the last one was in Thanksgiving in last year, maybe was the last time that they were able to have it since that show, due to the pandemic and all. So it was interesting to see, kind of the resurgence of all this vintage, a lot of raw vintage as well. So what is hot, what is not? This show, I mentioned this in the last show, that it is very Reds heavy. This show is incredibly Reds heavy. If you want to talk about a show that personifies local interest, this is the show for sure. There's a lot of Cincinnati Reds stuff. So if you're a fan of the Reds, this is definitely a show you want to make it out to. Again, it only happens twice a year, so you'll have to kind of pick and choose your spots. One of those times happens to be during Thanksgiving weekend, so that might add some challenges as well if you're trying to get out there. But if you're looking for a good vintage show to travel to, or if you like the Reds, then I could not recommend this show enough for you. So people were really looking at that. People were looking at the red stuff, and kind of what was not so hot is really the ultra modern stuff, I would say. Just in general, I like to be a bit more specific with this and really hear about the players that people are asking for. But if you think about Cincinnati sports, big red machine guys, a lot of people were asking about Votto. A lot of people were asking about Barry Larkin, from what I was just hearing all around. And then on the Bengals side, it was all Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. And other than that, I mean, there were a few of like your usual suspects that people were talking about, but really, I didn't see too many people talking about those other players. It was a lot of people who were interested just in the local interest, if you will. So definitely a different vibe than a lot of the shows I go to, but it's kind of par for the course with Moeller. And it's weird that I expected there to be more change, but really it feels like a lot of things haven't changed too much, which is somewhat refreshing. I do like, as a creature of habit, I do like to see that, but also at the same time, it's just interesting overall. So let's go to the takeaways to wrap it up. This might be the shortest recap I've ever done, and I actually came away with a lot of cards here. Uh, Overall, one thing I did like about this show is that there are a lot of dealers there who have been doing this for a long time. Ran into them. They remembered me, which is surprising because some of them I haven't seen for years. Sometimes you got to, introduce yourself and jog their memory a bit. But it was nice to kind of run into people who have been doing it for a long time and still see them going strong and seeing them thriving kind of after the boom and now in a post-boom landscape. Seeing them just doing what they have a huge passion for and being able to talk with them and kind of catch up. It is refreshing to see. There was a dealer there who had passed away, and they kind of had a poster that was a card for. It was essentially a get well card for his wife or a grievance card for his wife, which was really cool to see that they had done that for a long time dealer that was there. So um, it's cool. It's definitely cool. It definitely feels like you're at home when you go to this show if you're from the area. Something that I didn't like. There's two things that I didn't like, and one of them I will not comment on video. That's something that if you see me in person, I'll talk about. But I don't like to put that kind of stuff out there. But I heard a story about a particular person, and it didn't surprise me too much. But let me actually talk about something and not just be vague and cryptic with that and be all dramatic. Something I didn't like is that there was a lot of times when dealers are trying to comp my cards, if you will, some of my stuff is rare. And as a result, the only ones that you will see listed for sale is the one that I own. And because of that, you can see, what I'm asking for. And typically it's going to be much lower because I know that a dealer, they need to make money on it. And being off of eBay, I don't have to deal with fees. So there's no overhead there. I'm bringing it to the show and, cash is king. So if I can walk out with cash, that is a benefit to me. But there was a dealer there who didn't seem to take too kindly to the fact that I was essentially a seller and that, my former PCA, I told him my story of my former super collecting ways. And I feel like he kind of, maybe it was just me on this, but he was kind of like razzing me a bit for, I guess, being a reseller or selling like some of my Cabrera stuff. But I mean, part of it was just because I've kind of fallen out of love with that part of the hobby. It's just something that doesn't bring me joy. And, they're my cards and I can kind of do what I want with them. And I mean, he seemed unwilling to kind of move on some stuff after that. So I don't know. It's just kind of a weird conversation, I guess. Uh, you know, I part of me wants to go back to my super collecting ways on some days, and then part of me, I save a lot of time, definitely not spending hours a day searching eBay. So I don't know. That was just it was one of the weirdest moments I've had since my decision to kind of sell off the vast majority of my PC, I should say. So just an odd feeling. So that was something I wasn't as fond of. I kind of wrap it up with something that I did like was this is going to be difficult to put into words. I was struggling with putting this into words earlier. I guess just the generosity in keeping the hobby going. Uh, I'm someone who I've been told before that I look kind of young for my age, and that's not too much of a surprise. I have a bit of a baby face. I've been growing out the facial hair recently, so I don't look as young as I normally do. But I'm still on the younger side, and people, for the most part, treat me slightly different because I'm younger. Maybe some people don't take me as seriously because they think I'm just like this young guy who came into the hobby recently. I do get that actually more often than you would think. But I'm talking about like people who are younger, so teenagers or even kids who I saw walking around. Maybe they were there with mom or dad or an aunt or an uncle or whatever the case may be. And I saw several dealers just kind of throw a few cards their way of their favorite player. Like there was a young man who was a big Joey Votto fan, and the dealer was kind of talking to him about Joey Votto being very polite and everything, and he gave him a deal. Um, on a few Joey Votto cards, and then threw in a few Joey Votto cards for free for him, which was really cool to see. There was this young lady there with I would presume her dad, who was interested in Steph Curry cards, and the dealer just took a few Curry cards out of a value box that he had purchased earlier in the day. Went through the value box himself, dug out the Curry inserts, and just gave it to her. And I thought that was extremely classy, and it motivated me to make a deal with him. And I actually did. He was the dealer who I got the Larry Bird autograph, as well as a few of the other cards that you saw in there. So that was a really cool move. I probably should have said that, that was cool to him, but I think he knows. And yeah, I'm sure he didn't do it for for the praise. He just did it to, I guess, extend the hobby olive branch, if you will. But it's just really cool to see that. I saw some dealers who were cutting kids deals on certain cards when they were trying to negotiate and stuff. And it's just really cool to see that, because I have seen a lot of dealers before who get very caught up on the dollars and the cents. And I get it more so with the adults, but when you have like the kids coming up and stuff, I always say, give the kids a break, cut them a little bit of slack. And it was nice to see that, because those kids will remember that. I have remembered the dealers who've tossed a few Cabrera cards my way over time, even as a young adult. I remember those types of things, and I come back to those people when I've gone back to those shows, because they did treat me so well, and it's just something that sticks with people. And again, I'm sure that's not the reason they're doing it, but it was a very nice gesture to see. So that is going to do it for me today. Again, I will maybe back with a part 2 to this if I go back to the show and I buy some more stuff. We'll see. I kind of spent my budget here on day 1, but I've kind of planned for 2 separate budgets depending on how my schedule fell in on what will be a busy Saturday. And there's always Sunday too if I want to go back on Sunday and try my luck. I do have a whatnot sale on Sunday, so I'll have to get in the morning and get back to the office quickly. But thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch the video. Be sure to leave a comment down below with your thoughts. Take care, stay safe, be kind.